Guess we can get going. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. I got a lot. I'll try to go quick. If any questions, throw something at me and I'll answer them. As a cost-saving measure, thanks to one of my maintenance individuals, we've decided to no longer use Classic Automotive out of Madison to repair our vehicles. We did some cost comparisons and we've switched over to a company that I found out we've used in the past prior to my arrival, Avenue Auto there on Menor Ave, kind of near Fairground Road. Anyways, we received the two vans that the transportation department was getting rid of. We put them in our fleet so we had more vehicles. We did have one of our vehicles, we had a tie rod and ball joint replaced on one of the transportation vans. One of the other vans had frozen rear drums, so we had those replaced. The dump truck started to smoke a little bit, and we found out that the rear brakes and the backs had gone bad. So we've taken care of those. We've made a lot of repairs. We've spent money, but at the same time, we've saved a lot of money. Just to give you an idea, the dump truck brakes was one of the first ones that we looked into, and we were getting a cost estimate of $1,800 to repair it, and we went it to Avenue Auto, and they did it for $600. So they also work, in case anybody's curious where we found them, they also do work for Painesville City, Lake County Sheriff, I believe Mentor as well. So they're very receptive to our needs and very quick on their turnaround. So that's
It's a 100% grant too.
it's nice to see, and it's also close to home and within the district. The box truck, we've talked about this in the past. All I'm going to say again is that we're seriously going to have to give some consideration next year. If not, maybe later this fall, to consider either buying a used one that's got very low mileage and very little years on it, or a new one that comes with a full guarantee of services for a year or two or three. The other day, last week, it was driving around dragging the rear tail light because it had fallen out. So that is something I'm just going to keep on everybody's radar, that maybe we downsize a little bit. We still need it. If we have larger moving needs, we could always use a other vehicle or the dump truck to pull a large trailer to haul things out. So,
How big of a box truck is that lengthwise?
14 feet, Dennis?
14 foot or
It's
so?
pretty. It's a pretty big box truck.
Okay.
And for where we're driving around the district, that's a gas guzzler too. It's just falling apart. And it also has a lift gate on it.
Is it used pretty much all the time?
Yes.
Okay.
And the lift gate's important.
Yes. Very important.
Yeah.
I know we're in deficit spending. I'm aware of that. I was approached by maintenance. We have a few items we'd like to purchase if possible. If not, it's understandable. At least I can tell the department I did ask. We currently have a Kubota RTV, which is the 400 unit, I believe. It's 10 plus years old. It is used to turn our baseball and softball fields. It's also used a lot for transportation of trash and equipment for sporting events. And the amount of usage, the amount of hours, we've replaced the starter once. The transmission is starting to go. That would be a unit, the Kubota RTV X1100 for $21,800. That would replace the one that we currently have, so we would have a newer unit. And especially going this time of year, we don't need that to be dying, or next year to keep up on the baseball fields, which we've received a lot of praise lately about being able to play on that. We would turn in the one for a trade to get whatever minimal amount we would get out of it. The other one, the F2690, that is a multi-use utility vehicle. We already have one. We use it for snow removal, we use it for sweeping of sidewalks, and we use it for grass cutting. Having a unit like this that can serve multiple purposes removes a need for the amount of snow blowers, which is 10 currently, makes it faster and easier in the wintertime to move things. It also adds a lawnmower, so the lawnmowers that we currently do have in our fleet, if they start to go down, we have something newer in our fleet to replace that and have it ready to go. So if there's any consideration on that, that'd be appreciated. If it's a no-go, I understand, especially with what our financial situation.
So, we have one, we would keep it and we would add one?
Mhm.
We would trade in the old, there's a trade for the old one.
For the RTVs,
The
not for...
current RTVs,
Yes,
yeah.
that would be a trade, but we would flat out buy another vehicle.
So,
And we would have, yes, we would have two.
yeah, my thought is that the fiscal year ends June 30th, right? So we're into another fiscal year, and before winter, I would think that we would be able to buy one. You've already got pricing, right?
Correct, and this is Sourcewell pricing, which means being a school district, we
Right,
get that,
it's automatic.
then we get that discount, correct?
And, right, so, I mean, my thought is, we've done the work on the fields. We do our own work on a lot of things, what we're talking about, and certainly need the equipment to do it.
Mhm.
And you don't want to be in a situation where you have one older piece and it goes down, you can't do the job.
Correct.
So my thought is that while I don't have the projection right here in front of me, with an updated PI projection, we should have the money in the next fiscal year
Okay.
to do that. So it's, let's put it on a maybe probably and put it on the agenda for the next meeting. And we can have some updated numbers and have some further discussion, but I'd be more inclined to do it. Dennis, what do you think?
Well, yeah, you need equipment, and it just depends if these are the right tools for the job, then.
You know, if
yeah.
something goes down,
Right.
I mean, you just can't function.
Would the 2690 replace the need for the UTV?
No,
Oh, so it's one of each?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in your estimation, Rich, if we were to purchase these, and I understand you don't have a crystal ball, you can't tell when something's gonna break, but how many years would that put us out into the future of being in pretty good shape?
As well as they maintain things, I would say at least 10 to 15.
I mean, that sounds like a good idea. So yeah, I think we're moving in that direction, and let's maybe see if we can confirm it in the next meeting, okay?
Okay, thank you. It was brought to me, the idea of the high school gym. We've kind of touched on this a little bit about the bleacher removal and bleacher replacement. One of our teachers, phys ed teachers, took it upon himself, because he's kind of the driving force behind this, to replace the current high school bleachers with movable aluminum bleachers. He did receive 3 quotes. We got it from Uline, On Deck Sports, and BSN Sports for bleachers. What we're looking to get is 6 sets of bleachers. Each bleacher roughly sits 50 individuals. So we would be putting seating for 300 in the gym with the ability to move them around. It would be an upgrade. It also gives us the flexibility if we needed to move these bleachers out of the high school and into a different area of campus or the district. For a large event, we could do that as well, because they do have tip-back wheels on them. Uline came in at $18,250. It's something that we'd like to do if approved this summer.
Overall, it's a savings. The bleachers that are currently in there are the plastic ones that have to get repaired, and the repairs are up near this cost
Mhm.
annually. So we would take those bleachers out and replace them with these rolling bleachers.
So if we go back historically, 1, 2, 3 years, we
We
would have
repair-
spent how much on repairs?
We repair them every year, and it's a lot of money. I can't remember how much the costs are, but I would prefer to Rich.
Off the top of my head, we're paying about $5,000 a year for repair. the current condition of the broken seating and missing seating that is in the bleachers, we did get a cost of $80,000.
So, you know,
18
you don't have to
is-
be a wizard, right, to
That's
figure
all.
the math out.
So we'll put that on the agenda to move forward with.
And it's also helpful, I will say, it's also helpful for lacrosse and baseball with having movable bleachers. They can get them off to the side and out of the way of their batting cages, and this way we don't have some of the inadvertent damages that happen when the balls hit the plastic and explode little holes in them.
So, quickly, from 18,000 to 30,000, how come the price
What's the
difference?
difference?
Uline is more of a very large box type of general store, whereas you're dealing with two companies that have the word sports in them. They're the same, if you look at them, they're the same thing. They're the same gauge, same style, same color. Uline just comes, it's the same thing if you would go for heavy-duty shelving and went to a heavy-duty shelving company, they would tell you 50,000 and you would go to Uline and you'd get it for 15.
Okay,
So quality is all the same.
All the same.
All right.
We're not skimping anywhere, we're not putting anything that would be a detriment to anybody.
So I had those.
Just want to give everybody a little bit of an update with
Can you give me that quote? Make sure you get it on the agenda.
Now, these 6 sets, is that 18,000 per set?
No, that's total.
That's for all sets, okay.
Chris, can you read that, make sure it's total in?
It's $2,450 each for the 6 sets, and then the wheel kit is separate, which is $415 for each. So you're looking at about $2,865 a set,
Okay.
and yeah, $1,719 with shipping is $18,200.
Okay.
It's cheaper to ship these than textbooks.
Indeed it is. That's what I was just thinking.
So every summer, we have Ciro Sewer Cleaning come out, and they do 2 types of services for us. They do grease traps, and they also do our sewer lines where they jet out and flush the sanitary system lines, and they open up the manholes and basically give them a cleaning, check them, and make sure that we have proper flow throughout the school year. It's something we do ever do, plus the grease traps is a must. So every year we're throwing in about $13,000 to keep our grease traps and our sewer lines maintained and going forward. Just want to let everybody know that's kind of one of the things that we do every summer.
that's it, okay, so that'll be upcoming.
That is great. We'll make a purchase order for it, and we'll go ahead and schedule that for June or July,
Right.
which we do every year. We are currently in a service contract with Gardner. I am not happy with Gardner for multiple reasons. I was introduced to Clad Mechanical. Tom Steiger is the owner president. We got into a service contract with him for our boilers, and over last summer he tore them down, opened them up, did inspections, repaired things that needed to, and with the service contract he comes out quarterly to monitor the service and works with me and CCG to check on the operation to make sure we get them to be as efficient as they can and make them last. I did ask him to give us a contract for the remainder of schools, which is Riverview, Parkside, Lamuth, Melridge, Buckeye. That comes out to a total of $16,000 for all of them included, and that's roughly going to be a $5,000 as of today savings compared to Gardner. Where this would come in outside of our typical maintenance work is if we get a breakdown of a chiller or we get a breakdown of a boiler and it gets above and beyond the scope of what we want to get into. This is where this would come in and be helpful for us. So I'm asking if we could go ahead and sign up Plaid, and then when July rolls around, Gardner's, we will not renew the service contract with Gardner.
It's a no-brainer, right?
It's a great company. The guy's very knowledgeable. He's also helped me out at Riverview and Parkside, and he's less expensive.
And they've been around a long time.
They've been around a while, and he's very attentive to our needs. If I call him and say, I need you here now, if he's not here, one of his technicians will be.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's very important, you know, having a team that has our interest in mind, and
It's also gonna help us maintain our older equipment and our newer equipment moving
Yeah.
forward to get more life out of them. Thank
Yeah.
you. Every year we have Ambitious Landscaping come out. They do some pruning, weeding, trimming, and some mulching. I really push to use them mainly for campus, but it also helps out with the other schools, just so we have a spring cleanup and we look good for when the principals want to do any type of outside activities or do mini graduations at the other schools. We look halfway decent, and more so for campus, so we look as tight and clean, as neat as possible for our graduation. They did give me a quote for all the schools. I did take out Buckeye Elementary because we do have a crew of teachers who are absolutely awesome, and they love dearly the Buckeye landscaping, so they're going to take that on again this year, and we look pretty good over there actually. But I'm asking if we could go ahead and approve the $14,400 spring cleanup for Melridge, Lamuth, Campus, Riverview, and Parkside.
I mean, it's necessary.
I'll tell you what, it looks great for graduation when everybody comes in here and you have black mulch and everything's as tight as we can get it.
Dennis, what do you think? I mean, it's, if you absolutely have no money and you have no options, obviously you can't do it. But,
Correct.
I mean, it's just a normal
Yeah, we have
uptake.
it budgeted.
It's budgeted, and I would say go, Dennis, what do you think?
That's spread over 5 schools, right?
Correct.
So that's a pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, and right, because
Yeah.
you look
I'd
at what
like
you
to,
pay for cleanup and mulch at one house.
Yeah, I'd like to meet with somebody from there if I could, just to talk about pruning.
I can get you in touch
Okay.
with them. Thank
So
you.
should I add it to this agenda?
Yes.
Okay. I know it's under that, but it's close, so we don't wanna.
I mean, we're getting close on time. We're gonna have to know.
All right.
All right, seal coating. I received 4 quotes. Pavement Specialties, Surface Engineering, Vasco Asphalt Company, North Shore Asphalt. I broke them down, you can see the cost. Couple of them were very low, and they kind of scratched my head a little bit because it doesn't make any sense to me when the other ones are more comparable. But I read over them. Some are not calling out patching of potholes, which is imperative. Some of them are calling out a single coat. Others are calling out 2 coat. I went through everything and I chose the best interest for us would be Vasco. We're getting potholes. They specifically call out on each school where they're at and how they're going to fill them. Excuse me. All schools in is $113,818. However, I don't know if campus would be viable for seal coating this year because of the construction that will be going on. I would hate to spend that kind of money and then go ahead and have it all torn up. And the same thing goes for Riverview.
Is it striping too?
I have a quote for striping. We use VLB. They always come in. They're much cheaper than everybody else's, but striping all in is $14,600. And the nice thing about VLB striping is he's been doing it with the district for many, many years. He knows exactly what font we want, what arrows we want, and especially here at campus, he knows that we have the multiple colors of white and yellow and green to designate everything. And he always does a very nice job for us, and he can come in after hours and get this done for us. So really, I will state that Lamuth, if you have paid, I'm sure everybody's noticed, Lamuth's parking lot is absolutely atrocious, and I don't know how much more we're gonna get out of it, and I don't even know if it's still viable to just do a 2-inch grind and resurface. But that would be one that I would definitely say we have to do some crack filling, pothole filling, and then put some seal coat on it just to hold it together. And so I'm looking for anybody's feedback as to what everybody's thoughts are.
I know Mr. Hall had a group of students come to him, asking, like, other schools will have their spots and they will paint their spots for seniors. Mr. Hall had a group of students asked to do that, and there's a charge for that. Now, it doesn't cover the whole, obviously, cost of the seal coating, but he had asked to do that. He had a group of seniors and asked about that, so that would require us to seal coat at least over where the seniors are every year, because they would be new seniors and would switch. But if that's something we were, if we could get a look at what would it cost just to seal the senior spots, we could then, maybe divvy up some of that to them and kind of look at what that would look like.
Where are the senior spots?
So they're the ones, they're right over here, right behind,
On that side of the gate?
yeah, on this side of the gates, and then I think they're the last row of, as you enter, we put some seniors there.
So what are you talking about that the seniors would do?
So they would come in, so they get their designated spot, they paint that spot, they submit a design, this is what I want my spot to look like, and then they would paint that spot based on things that they're interested in. I've seen people turn them into football fields, you've seen them turn
Yeah,
them
it's
into.
really cool.
They're
Hanson
just
does
kind of
it.
their own thing,
So they personalize their parking
They
spot?
personalize their parking
Okay.
spot, you celebrate a day, it's like senior parking day, and they come in and they paint their spot and kind of do it up, and some would take a whole lot of time, and some don't. All of them are approved ahead of time, and if there's anything that's not appropriate, they get just paint, black paint over them, and
So what you'd like to see is have that seal coated and lined first and then have them personalize
either that or we
it,
could go with it like this, we're gonna wait a year, we could start this year, but then we would have to seal coat it every year
Okay.
after that, so we would have to make the decision that we are going to seal coat from this point on to move forward. So they approached him last year about it, and they still, I think there's still some buzz about doing it, so it's something that kind of builds some school pride, gives them a sense of uniqueness, and allows them to kind of do that. The same.
So as far as construction traffic goes, really, it would probably not affect that area over there?
It would
Construction
not.
traffic
The
would-
one thing it might impact is how we shift traffic because of construction and parking. That might be where these things are, because we're gonna have extra cars parking for half the year, so we have to look at what that looks like. But if you want, we can start, if we're okay with that as a committee, that we're gonna make this commitment at least next year, we can start looking at what that looks like. Kind of moving forward with the shifting of parking and everything else.
Guess we'll have to give that some thought then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in reading through the notes, if we're removing Riverview and the campus because of construction, which I'd be 100% for, because when you have construction,
Right.
I mean, you're gonna be wasting money because you're gonna have to do it after that. I mean, I would be saying to do it. I am familiar with people that have taken care of very large retail, commercial parking lots, and it's never fun because you don't really see the money, but you really have to take care of your asphalt. If you don't, at some point, it becomes exponentially more expensive. And because the falling apart becomes faster and faster. So, Rich, you have a bottom line number of 45,000, right?
45,586 to seal coat minus campus and Riverview. I would recommend we still go ahead and do the line striping at the schools,
I'm okay with that.
just to refresh those.
I mean, you kind of need to have that.
So that would be, I'm sorry, Scott, that would be another
14.
14th, so you're looking
60,000.
60,000.
Dennis, I would highly recommend that. Again, I'm going back to people I know that have, I mean, you really wrestle with it, you struggle with it. One, you pull the trigger, one, you spend the money, but you can't wait too long because it becomes exponentially more expensive.
You want the-
But there's no reason to do it where you have construction, because you're gonna have to do it, repairs after that anyway.
Right.
Which is nice, because then if the seal coating at the other 4 schools hold up well enough, which I don't see why it shouldn't, we don't have to do them next year, and then campus and Riverview could be the refresher next year.
I think
And then you
that's.
get on that, maybe you get on that cyclical.
Right, yeah, you get
rotation.
on a staggered plan, right. I think that makes more sense.
Okay.
I'm in agreement with that. Dennis, what do you think?
Yeah. Sounds.
Thank
Then would you like me to get a proposal from Mr. Hall about the seniors painting?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, right, I mean, we want them to do that,
It'd be
right?
fun.
Yeah, yeah.
So, okay.
Rich, can they still fill some of the potholes, the campus?
Maintenance is gonna go out and we'll buy the
Okay, the
We'll
patch
buy
and
the
stuff,
patch.
okay, there's just a couple in that bag.
Yeah, and we plan on doing one more roll with the roller, because we still have some things to do on
Okay.
the move.
Can I take a lap?
Yes, you can.
Are you guys pulling a heavy roller?
No, we
Are you-
actually,
are you-
This thing's awesome.
we went,
No.
no, we went to Leppo up on Route 20 in Perry, and we rented the 5,500-pound street machine.
Wow.
So we rolled the baseball fields, the softball fields, the band field, football, lacrosse, soccer, before the rains came, and then we used it for some of our potholes.
You know,
And
I have to say, the work we put into those fields last year has paid off in just compliments and even people saying, they played last night and it rained in the middle, poured, and they just continued to play.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been great. We've had actual teams switch where typically we would just cancel. They switched theirs and moved and played here.
Yeah.
So that company did an amazing job, and really, you know, the take of it's been amazing. So it's been good work, and, you know, real good use of our funds so our kids can play and
Kudos.
have a season.
To
So
get
kudos.
to get a phone call from Chardon and say, our fields aren't ready, can we come play at your place? And we were able to say yes.
Yeah.
That was just the icing on the cake for me.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to effectively and efficiently spend the money, right? And it looks like we're gonna get long-term service out of that money.
I have made it very clear that we are going to stay on top of these fields to the best of our abilities to
Yeah.
maintain what.
And
we
even
have.
the outfield, the way that the outfields were rolled has made them incredibly playable as well.
And I can tell you, I played baseball, and having a field that's playable where you're not stepping in a hole or something, I mean, kids aren't getting
Yeah.
injured, so
No,
that's
it's-
important
It's
too.
been a really good thing for our program.
Okay, we just finished up winter, I think. Here comes a snowstorm.
No,
Which ends our 3-year contract with North Shore, and if Gary was here, he would tell you the same thing, that this is, since my arrival, the best company that we've had in our district, attending to our snow removal needs and the attentiveness that they give us when we make phone calls for extra de-icing or snow moving. So I'm asking this committee to agree to extend another 3-year contract with North Shore Seal Coating and Asphalt and Snow Removal. The 2025 year would be $98,560. That includes snow removal and salt applications for the parking lots. Then it would go up in 2026 to $99,625. And then in 2027, it would go up to $101,600.
I think it's an absolute necessity, don't you?
They have done us very solid, and this year, granted, the prior 2 years wasn't as much snow removal, but this year, they really came through for us, and whenever we had to make a phone call because maybe it was icing up or if, we had 4 feet of snow, within a day, they did have us open, which was great.
even moving the snow and how they're very amenable to where we want to pile snow and where we don't. When we had the one in November and they put some on the softball outfield, we were like, that's okay for now, but from then on, we'll put it in different spots. They're very open to it.
And there's no way to know whether they're not gonna plow but a few times or if they're gonna be plowing 30 times. There's no way to know, but you gotta have a contract when you're in operation like
You
this.
need them when you need them.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, when they
Yeah,
bought that
right.
machine, the front end loader to help as well, so.
So, I mean, I'm all in on that. What do you think?
when they pile up the snow and then it needs to be moved, is that an extra?
That is an extra, but they did give me a quote, because we've been talking about it for a couple of years. They did give me a $10,000 quote proposal. The turn right here where we put the very large piles off the main lot, the proposal was for $10,000 for them to put a base down and put down asphalt grindings over the top of it and make that like a dump zone. And the reason for that is that when we get early in the season, the large equipment can't get far enough back on that grass without
Right.
getting stuck. So by putting this base, gives us the opportunity early in the season to get the equipment on that and get that snow back, so we won't have to spend, hopefully, that money and move snow piles either onto the baseball field or take it to the other end of campus. So that should help us greatly in that aspect of snow removal. Plus, having a asphalt grinding area helps with parking on large events. And it's not gonna be a whole lot, but it's better than nothing.
All right, I'd like to see where that location
Sure.
is and talk about that.
Mhm. Okay, thank you for the snow removal.
This is July 1 though, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
All right, Principal Wakeham over at Melridge, she's asked for certain items she would like to see done to her school this summer. I did get proposals. She would like room 107 tiled. We would of course have to abate the floor. Tile floor is just over $5,000. The abatement would be about $12,500 for $17,537. She's also asked to have the 2 modular classrooms at her school carpeted, to have the carpet removed and carpet squares put down. That is $6,596. Also to look at removing the current carpeting, which is tattered and old, at the library in Melridge. To replace that, that would be $5,908. And then she requested also to have her gym walls painted, and the cost would be $11,400. And the thought process there would be, we're going to prime, the contractor would prime the walls and then 2-coat white and then put the black, yellow, and gray stripe that is currently on the walls at Riverview and Parkside. I did not speak to her about putting the Beaver logo there. I think the striping would be just fine because there's not much room in the Melridge gym for that large beaver head. So those are items that she's requested. I've secured the proposals for that. I'm looking for feedback and approval or denial.
What is room 107? Is that just a classroom?
Just a classroom, yes.
And what's the issue with the tile now?
It's old, it's asbestos, and it's kind of uneven and heaving.
Okay.
Is it buckling?
Yes.
Which classroom is that, Rich? Like, as you come in and go down the hallway, do you know who's in that? I'm just curious who's in that room.
I think, if I remember correctly, Melissa, it's towards the left. It might be a special needs class. I'm not sure.
We did a lot of carpet and tile last year.
Yes,
Did
we
we just
did.
miss this one?
This just wasn't on the list.
Okay.
I think part of the push with 107 is just the type of classroom that it is, according to Gretchen.
Okay.
Is there any way to but install a floor over that without having to abate it?
I'm gonna have to double check, Scott, but I'm pretty sure that's half tile, half carpet. So the answer would be no.
A lot of those rooms have like a tile entrance and then a carpet spot.
Correct.
And I'd like to take a look at it,
Sure.
but yeah, we'll keep it on the list.
Yeah, most likely it's a go, it's just
Okay.
how it's done.
Right.
All right.
So it'll get done, it's just how it's done, right? So, okay. Yeah, so that's,
All right.
the reason I'm hesitating is because I know you got some renovation
Yes.
numbers on
Yes.
Melridge, and
Right.
do these tie in at all?
I just separated. I went with this request, and then there's the whole renovation, so the renovation could encumber.
So some of it's probably in the renovation.
That is correct,
Yeah.
yeah. If you've been to Lamuth, the band room, it's much like what was here at John R. in the choir room and the band room here. It's tattered, it's torn, it's disgusting, it's ugly. I did ask.
Let me back up and ask one question. For the contractors, people that are gonna be doing the work, if we were to approve something in the May meeting, would that give enough time to be able to schedule the work and get it done?
I don't see why not. It would just probably be the end of July, beginning of August.
So it'd still be okay?
I believe it would still be.
Okay,
yeah.
so let's gather a little more information.
Okay.
And then we can approve whatever we're gonna approve in May.
Right. Lamuth, I just got a quote to just let everybody be aware that to replace the carpeting at the band room at Lamuth, it's $7,947.96.
Generally, how long is the carpet cycle?
I mean, it's probably been down there 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
I replaced it when I was principal there, but it was in the first couple of years, so it's been a while.
So
I would
10
say
years?
At
maybe?
least 10, yeah.
Okay.
A good commercial carpet, you should get 12 to 15 years, shouldn't you?
The way that it's on those steps, there's those big steps in the risers, and I don't know if we went with the best company at that time. It's different.
Oh, I mean, it got its use out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Okay.
It's just an improvement, looking at things to enhance the schools. If we want to hold off, we can until next meeting.
Well, again, let's, I'm just gonna make a note of May,
Okay.
make a note of May. That shouldn't slow us down.
No, I could always put them on notice that we would have a potential answer in May, and they can kind of pencil us in somewhere, which would be fine.
Okay,
They've worked with us before. If they have to do night shifts, they've done it here as well.
okay, all right.
Okay, shared classroom doors. We did get budget numbers from CCI. They were 20,000 and 23,000. I talked to Diamond Door, who does a lot of our doors here in the district, to give me a cost, and I also spoke with Eagle Abatement and Demolition. I met him through Mr. Keeney at Buckeye. I asked him to come out and meet me and give me prices. For Eagle Abatement and Demolition, to cut the opening in the classroom walls, to finish the opening and set the framing for the door company, it's $10,718 per door opening. So it'll be $10,718 to cut it, abate it, set it. At Buckeye, same thing for Melridge. According to Diamond Door, to get the door, the frame, set it, and all the hardware and furnishings would be $4,626. So that comes out to $15,544 for the package. I threw in 15% contingency because we do not know what we're going to get into when we open up a wall. There may be something there unforeseen. So even at worst case scenario, you're looking at roughly $17,098 to cut these holes in the wall and order the doors. If this is something we were going to consider doing this year or this summer, the sooner we can get an approval to order the doors so they are here in time, that would be greatly beneficial.
We could probably set a meeting between now and the May meeting and
Okay.
have the board discuss it, probably. get
We need to
everyone-
see exactly what major things are we gonna do at
Well-
Buckeye, original Buckeye, and what can be done over the summer that isn't gonna interfere
Do we
with,
want,
the
I know
fall.
there was one at Buckeye, do we want to proceed with the Melridge one?
Well, and get the board, I mean,
Well, yeah, we need.
get everyone's opinion.
Yeah, we need to look at it, to see exactly how are these classrooms gonna be used? You know, is it effective to do this at Melridge now, or do we just do it at Buckeye, or
Right,
you
there's
know,
a
all of
lot
those
going
things?
on right now.
Yeah.
Chris and I were talking about that before the meeting started. There's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts, and so probably have a meeting and have everyone discuss it.
Okay.
There's a request at Lamouth too. Remember, there's been a request at Lamouth to connect two classrooms.
Do we know which classrooms those are?
We talked.
Oh, those were,
Yeah,
yeah,
they're-
they're
yeah, they have
upstairs.
questions,
They're
yeah.
not, you would not need to abate those.
No, you would not, no.
That would-
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh.
that would require, that would be significantly less cost, but that would require room changes as well. I know that the Melridge one, because we're not doing it, the Melridge one to me would make more sense to proceed with that. Those teachers are all on board, there's only 2 teachers per grade, it's not,
And they're already doing a lot of that.
Yeah, they're
team
doing a lot of
teaching.
it. If we
The
could
kids
do-
just have to shuffle around.
yeah, if we could proceed
Wow.
with that one and see how it works, and if they are in fact under the cost, the matter of the buildings are different, but I would recommend it.
How many were we looking at doing potentially?
There's two total right now in the two buildings that have to be abated. The one at Lamouth would be a different cost.
Could we get a cost on that one at Lamouth? We can talk about that. I'll kind of go over what rooms I think. maybe
I will
would be
speak
best.
with Eagle Abatement about cutting the hole.
Okay,
I'm sure the door cost is not going to change, because,
yeah, right. that'll be
and just
down.
for everybody's understanding, the doors that we're looking at putting in are exact replicas of Parkside and Riverview.
Oh, perfect. Okay,
Same color
that's
frame,
right.
same style door, wood with glass,
Okay.
nothing different.
Okay,
Okay, I was instructed by Mr. Fischel to get him some numbers on Buckeye and Melridge for renovation. I did reach out to Roger and Ryan, see if they can give me some assistance. They did supply something. So we actually have two for Buckeye. One's from TDA and Roger, the other one is something that I used. Either I called vendors and had them come out, walk real quick, take a look, give me a budget number. These are just budget numbers. This is not what I'm saying we have to do. These are just items that I picked out that would be beneficial just with my knowledge and background, talking with vendors, looking at the schools, kind of figuring out how doing certain things will impact other things. So these are random ballpark numbers, which is either a budget number from a vendor, which I've put that in there, or I've taken and pulled it off of the Bylowski report. I did get a total cost with, when Mr. Keeney and I met with Rex from Eagle, he did send a scope of work to abate the entire school of Buckeye. That was $103,800. So that was a number that we had requested for him to supply, which he did. He also did give me a cost for the removal of the walkways, the wood-covered walkways, and the demolition of all three modular classrooms is $38,785. I did mention the last meeting, we did have a school that was interested, Christian Academy. I did take pictures. I supplied them with what information they needed. Their facilities director got back to me and she said that her superintendent had decided to go into a different means. So I just went ahead and asked Rex at Eagle to just give me a number so we had it for discussion, to make everybody aware that we do have a company that will do it. That would be the cost,
I'm sorry, how much was that again?
$38,785.
What would be done with all of that lumber and everything for it? That's all of those walkways?
Probably cut and trashed.
Is-
We've looked at it, we were hoping that the newer stuff was screwed. It is not, it's shot with a nail gun, because we were hoping we could back the screws out and save the lumber, but with it being shot like that, that's gonna be very time consuming to sit there and pry them all apart and not tear up the lumber.
You'd have to go cut all the nails, pull all the nails. And the old ones, while they have screws that corroded, you're not saving them.
Those are pretty worn out,
Yeah, you can't even get them out, most of them. So,
So that number's there just for knowledge.
that's taking down all of them
Yes,
and all of the decking and roofing,
yes,
okay? And discarding it.
yes.
Okay. How is the roof attached to the main Buckeye building? I mean, is that easy enough to remove and just patch? I mean,
Yes.
I'm assuming it is. It's
Yeah.
probably just lagged in?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, for the budget numbers, I did look over the one, it's the one that's horizontal. That came from Roger and TDA. They did forget to put the roof in there. I think the roof is important, especially at Buckeye, you know, estimated 6 million.
Oh, excuse me, let me just back up a moment. Gary was gonna put the latest, the newest trailer modular up for auction. Do you know if he has done that yet?
I don't believe he
As
has.
of yet. I can check and see.
Okay. And, because we'll see if it, I think it's saleable. And I think what Gary said is, someone had made a policy, we have a policy that says it has to be put up for auction. It's kind of a gray area where maybe it could be sold, maybe it has to go for auction, but we have a policy. So at this point, we'd probably put it up for auction. And if we could get something out of it, so.
Okay, so as you can see with the report from Roger PDA, abatement, ceiling removal, which Scott, you and I talked about painting that, and after thinking about it, if we're doing any type of HVAC or lighting repairs or lighting replacements, electrical upgrade or electrical replacements, we're gonna have to get in that ceiling anyways. So removing the ceiling completely and putting in a drop acoustical makes the most sense, plus moving forward, if we had to do any type of technology runs, electrical runs, we don't have to get into these ceiling tiles that they're like puzzle pieces and damaging them, or having to go back over the years to repaint just because the paint starts to fail. So I kind of agree with taking.
That 60s tile, that's isn't aluminum too?
Yeah, the hallways are aluminum. You have the 12 by 12s that have the holes in them that will pretty much absorb the paint. Plus, by changing the lighting in the classrooms and having a drop ceiling, we're going to put a nicer fixture in, and we'll be able to remove a lot of the wire molding that you see in the classrooms that's currently there, because we'll have the ceiling to go ahead and put wire runs. There's flooring, wall base, painting, acoustical ceiling, marker boards, fire system or fire alarm, technology, fire suppression, security, electrical, and mechanical. Theirs came out to, with the roof, I added the roof, $6,670,270. What I looked at is, like I said, I used vendors that I've dealt with here at the district and by Lasky report, and I came up with, depending on what type of tile you put in the floor, if you went just with a VCT plus contingency, you're probably looking at, my numbers are a little screwed up, but before contingency, you're looking at $6,033,419. With luxury tile, you're looking at a $5 difference, so $6,033,424. There's a lot of things in my report that you can't, it's, you know, I don't call out a fire suppression. We haven't talked in either reports about replacing the water line, which we know we did a 4-foot section last year. So that should probably be looked at. The parking lots aren't in here. But I guess generally you're probably looking at, depending on what the industry is calling out, where we are with industry prices and how in depth you want to get. You could be at 6 million and you could be at 8 million. It just depends on how in depth you want to get. I did get a cost, and you'll see for painting, it's in here somewhere. It was $100,000 to paint all Buckeye, just to come through with a sprayer and spray. It's $100,000. I did get flooring costs. Those are, again, these are all budget numbers. This is nothing dead set, written in stone. This is going to be. I did speak with Clad Mechanical about how do we go ahead and air condition Buckeye. His
Talk with?
Clad Mechanical.
Clad.
Okay.
His recommendation, and he's seen it done elsewhere, you put the chillers on the roof, and you get a chiller that can do 2 to 4 rooms at a time, depending on square footage. And then you put the mini split like you see at some of the restaurants and stuff like that. It's got the little unit like this, and it pushes out the air conditioning. So what they do is they pipe down into the building through the roof, connect it to that unit, and that is your air conditioning. It also has a mini heat pump that goes with it that is a heat source. So you do that for roughly $20,000 a classroom. But you also upgrade your univents at $20,000 a unit for your heating source. But then if the boiler goes down, you have the heat pump as a backup. It's to maintain heat in the school, so you really don't technically have to shut it down because we still have a heat source. So you have that option. He thinks that would probably be the cleanest, easiest option. Of course, with Buckeye, as we know, if you're gonna add that, anything we do with Buckeye, we seriously have to consider the upgrade, complete upgrade of the electrical system in the original school itself. Because it's not gonna be able to maintain this load if we went this route. And then the boilers would be, it's up to us. Again, we've talked about the boilers, they're from 65. They're in good condition, we keep them going, we have little hiccups here and there. Who doesn't when you're that old? Or you change it out. That's just, that's a preference of the district as to how much we want to spend, how much we don't want to spend, how in-depth we want to get. You know, I call out, you know, Bylaski called out changing out all the bathrooms at Buckeye to ADA. It's doable, but it's costly. Renovating them, just putting in new fixtures, painting, sealing, sinks, faucets, toilet urinals, stalls, that's a little less expensive than starting to blow out doors and move things around. So again, it's all a matter of how in-depth we want to get, how detailed we want to get, and what route we want to go. You know, we don't have to spend $103,000 to abate the whole school. Where it's beneficial is we have a clean school, and any work we do moving forward, we don't have to worry about any issues at all with any type of work we do. If it's to be cost effective, there's other options to get around things.
So, speaking to that, if we were to just abating the whole school for a timeline, because there's the other part to this, is we still have students who have to go to these classrooms. What would the timeline look like between abating, and then would we be able to do a lot of this within that summer period?
Man, you would have to have everything ready. I mean, abating alone, I think is probably gonna, I mean, I'm guessing, but I'm gonna say, would you agree, Dennis, 4 to 6 weeks?
That would be a safe guess.
Yeah, 4 to 6 weeks to do that. Get in there, tent the building, put in the negative pressure, abate, clean, get the air sample for clearance, and then go ahead and start the work.
But prior to that, you know, whatever you're gonna do, you're gonna tear out the ceiling, you're gonna tear out everything that you want to replace. You tear it all out first,
Yeah.
and makes that abatement go much smoother.
Right, no,
And then they replace. So let's get back to the HVAC. Talking about rooftop air conditioning units,
Mhm.
right? And then, but still using the hydronic heating system.
Correct. Yes.
So now you have a mixture, and
Yes.
at 20,000 a univent to
40,000 a room total is what I
That
got.
would,
that's just for heating.
Both.
No, that was.
that would be both.
Yeah.
That's putting the chiller up.
So 20,000 for your mini split with a chiller, and then 20,000 for a univent.
Why not use the mini split for both?
Because the heat pumps may not keep up with the amount of heat requirement that we need.
Okay.
That's why I really would like to look into that a lot further
Sure.
to see.
Again, this was just a
Yeah.
budget exercise.
Right, yeah, I understand that, and having those two separate types of things, you know, with rooftop units, you gotta get up there and take care of them, and they're subject to weather, you know, is there a better way to cool the building, using hydronics?
Those are rooftop condensers though, right? It's-
That's correct.
Yeah, it's just the condenser. The unit itself is in the classroom.
Well, right,
Yeah.
but you still have a rooftop thing that needs,
Yeah.
and there is a difference between having those chillers, whether it's an air chiller or a water-based chiller. And sometimes with a water-based, you can have it inside. And so it just depends on how much room we're gonna have and all of that other
And
stuff,
that's a
so.
very good point, Dennis, is that the room comes into play.
Yeah.
Where are we gonna put it?
So
And-
we have a lot of homework to do.
And Dennis, on the hydronics, the new PVC has had problems. They've been coming apart sometimes. So we'd be looking at serious upgrade cost in going with the metal.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it's just Ryan, I was talking with Ryan TDA, and he was saying that sometimes the joints have literally been coming apart.
There was some talk at one point about, with Ryan, where the mechanical room is, potentially having that mechanical room feed the original building back. with both heat and air, since we were going to do a significant upgrade. Is that still a possibility? I don't remember what everything's kind of running together right now. But I do remember having that at one point, and electrical as well, potentially upgrading what's in the new part, and then having that kind of serve as the hub for the renovation.
You're gonna have to upgrade electrical in the old, because the requirements are gonna overwhelm the system, and then you're gonna be trying to repair it. We have to upgrade the electrical, I mean, that's a no-brainer, don't you think, Rich?
Yes, definitely.
So, yeah, so we're gonna have to at least do that.
But even
There is some merit to have a new central location for all that mechanical.
Definitely.
But, you know, how all that plays out, you know, we're still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, yeah. It's, some people say it's a mountain of work, you know, doing all the research on it, it's 2 mountains so
Yeah.
far. Yeah, and, because sometimes you're moving in a thought process in a direction, a new piece of information comes in, and now you have to start changing other
Exactly,
things to make it
exactly.
fit, so. But, you know, thanks for this information, because it's very, very helpful, gives us some numbers, and.
Better know it ahead of a time than you're in the middle of a project and you've got to change the horse. You know,
Yeah,
it's-
and so we, you know, there's a lot going on, and obviously we have to figure out
we would have to.
how much we're gonna do and how much it's gonna cost.
I think as in-depth as these are laid out right now, I believe that we would be forced to do fire suppression.
And I would wonder if we would be forced to switch to ADA since we're doing the whole thing.
That one, I think, speaking with Brian and Roger, that's a gray area. That one falls into a gray area. You should have it, but if you have it in the building, you're good, but do you want to make it more user-friendly? That's,
So we should have potentially at least do 2 bathrooms ADA.
yes,
So sometimes what they look at is the amount of space you have, and it might not even be doable.
correct.
So then they let you grandfather in.
Right.
And then how many, you know, people are going to be needing an ADA? If you have the public coming in the new addition, obviously those restrooms will be there.
Well, if those restrooms are, I think that would count.
Yeah, and then, you know, how many students would we have to accommodate with those needs? And would one central bathroom, ADA bathroom, for them be acceptable? You know, those sorts of things, so.
That one I think would fall into a gray area, but I know the fire suppression would probably be pushed on us. With Melridge,
Can I ask
yes.
a real quick question about the ADA bathrooms? Is the only location of the student bathrooms in Buckeye are right by the backside of the gym? Is that right?
There's 2 on each side, boys, girls, boy, girl on each side.
Okay.
And then we do have the 2 adult bathrooms that we did remove the partitions at the new section.
Okay, could we potentially maybe look at maybe just one ADA, do you know what I mean, for that side of the building? Maybe, you know, so you're not, if you're in a classroom over here, you don't want to have to go all the way around if you do have a student in a wheelchair, but maybe we don't have to do all of them. Maybe we could just do one on that, in that leg of the building, just keep that in,
That would be an option, yeah.
okay, in mind, you know what I mean? Because that's a long way to travel, especially if you're a mini kid,
Yeah.
to get to that other side. So just something to keep in mind while you're moving forward and getting numbers.
Melridge, I did this one on my own, and there was nothing from Roger or Tegan, and rightly so, because I know they're very busy. And basically, to make it real quick, VCT flooring throughout the school, which of course we've done some, so the number would be a little bit different. You're looking at 5.6 million. Luxury vinyl, you're looking at 5.6 million. Again, it's roofs, windows. The big one in here, and you'll see it, is the HVAC. Again, I talked to Tom Steiger with Clad Mechanical. Removing the current CH&V, which is our hot forced air system, and putting in another hot air system to utilize the ductwork that we currently have, but also doing cooling. It's more of an undertaking and it's more of a cost, and then we have the univents are inadequate as far as distribution of heat. You would still want to try to use those because you have the ductwork underneath coming up to the classrooms, to the univents, to disperse your heating and cooling. But that's where your cost gets in, of changing out these univents, making sure the ductwork is correct, the right, size. So that one there is a challenge, and again, that's how detailed do you want to get into it, how deep in the woods do you want to go? But I just put it in there to give everybody an idea that that is a potential cost.
Can we, is it possible to do drops and run ductwork and just drop the air from the ceiling?
I do not believe so. I would have to, I'm not going to confirm it 100%, but we already have the ductwork in the crawl space at Melridge. It goes to all the classrooms, so your best bet would be to utilize that because it's already there. It's going everywhere in the building.
Now, would this be replacing the boiler that's there or no?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Or, again, there may be options that we don't have to replace the CH&V, which is original to the school, so when is she gonna go? We don't know. And there may be an option to do a secondary cooling system. I mean, that is a topic to discuss with somebody, to see what our options are. And we may have the same option as Buckeye going up on the roof with mini splits. I do not know. I didn't address that because we have the ductwork in the building
yeah,
currently.
could you ask
Yeah.
Steiger?
I will do that.
See what he says. Ask him if it's possible to do drops.
I will do that.
Because if we could just put, what would it be, 4 or 5 units up there and drop them down and duct them into the ceiling and drop the cold air down. See if it's
How do you get to
possible.
the first floor?
See if it's, pardon me?
How do you get to the
The
first
first three
floor?
pipes go around the back with your condensers and your splits that way then, I would think, right?
Well,
Either-
Steiger would probably know a little bit more.
Did you ever get those Melridge plans digitized?
I have them in my office. I did reach out to Roger and told him I had them, and
He hasn't picked them up
no,
yet?
he has not. No, but he was made aware that I did have them.
Just go ahead and send them to him,
Okay.
and then we'll get those back so we have a better idea what we're talking about.
So those are just budgetary numbers for this topic of conversation. How we proceed and when we proceed is yet to be determined. What kind of piqued my interest a little bit as I was going through this, because again, I referenced the Bialowski report from June of '23. So I took a little bit of time. This is not precise, so please don't take it that way. I just kind of went through what kind of improvements since this report came out that we've done. And I'm just going to go over them real quick. In the high school in John R., we did almost $88,000 worth of bathroom upgrade with just stalls alone. We did new carpeting in John R. Band and Choir Room, which was for $20,400. We've done almost $45,000 worth the door replacements of rotting, worn out doors here at the high school in John R., and that was for the T Hall, the high school, the auditorium, and soon to be coming the welding lab. In the last 2.5, 3 years, maintenance, just to give everybody an idea, and some of these things are in these reports. We've put in LED lighting in the auditorium of the high school cafeteria, the John R. cafeteria, the high school gym, the John R. gym, the field house, and the Lamuth gym. So that was done as well. I did not dig deep into how much the cost was, but it is something that was called out in the reports for hundreds of thousands of dollars, which we've done in-house, which is a feather in everyone's cap. In the stadium, we put new ballast in for $98.50. We re-lamped all of the stadium lights, which, speaking with Mr. Bors, everybody has seen an improvement at night. That cost us $34.50. We did some fence repairs around the stadium. That was for $6,390. The new track, that's a typo, that's not 265, it's 465, so we have a brand new track. I believe everybody's happy with it, looks good. Parkside and Riverview, we did pond fencing for $48.5. At Lamuth, we put new carpeting in the main office. That was part of the vestibule project. That is something, though, that the district used out of our funds to do. That was separate from the overall bid. We did tuck point the gym for $20,800. For $19,840. We painted the gym for $20,800. Did the new gym floor for $132 and change. We also did, at the request of the teachers from our Halloween incident over at Riverview, we did change out 28 door handles in the classrooms for better security and easier for using the paracord to secure the doors. That cost us $14,140. Last year, we did carpet the older modular units for $14,722. And then at Melridge, we did 7 classrooms of carpet, and we did 1 classroom of tile for $20,141. So all told, add an additional $200,000 because of my mix-up. We've done roughly $943,885 in work since in the last 2 years, almost 2 years. So we've done a lot. We've made a lot of improvements, and I know I'm missing things.
Fields.
The fields, which was another 80,000, which we've got nothing but praise for it. And then there's the various other items that we've done here or there, but it kind of piqued my interest as I was going through. I'm like, oh, we did that, oh, we did that. We've made, I think it's $14,000 worth of the flushometer units over at Parkside and Riverview. We got rid of the costly auto flushers and, scaring the children as well. So there's an upgrade.
Well, even the vestibules, the work we did behind,
Yes.
like, we replaced the whole back curtain wall at Lamuth. We replaced all the doors in the buildings, made them secure. All of our buildings are much more secure right now with everything we've done with the badging system and all that. So really a lot of focus on safety and security, and to highlight for sure.
Well, a lot of good work. Appreciate all that. And just to wrap it up real quickly, the second year of treating the buses will be $18,125. They'll come here. There's a new Crown outlet in
There's an Akron, yeah.
And Chris had looked into that, and it's a partnership with the company with whom we're dealing now. So it's. Do you know how far it is? Hour and 10 minutes?
It's a little bit closer than the one in West Middle.
It's
but
like
but
5-10
they're
minutes
still-
difference,
Yeah,
you
they're
know?
still pretty, you're still coming up from Akron. you're
It's
going
almost
out to-
equidistant, so
Yeah.
we'll see, what the future holds with that, but, so there's another company, but they're related, so. So anyway, we can do that, and then I had asked that you would ask Kyle to put together a report of all of our buses. We have 58 right now, and, we'd like to grade them and see when do we expect them to go offline, because we're gonna have to have a plan going forward as to when we need to buy buses. And again, just to recap, not so much in this meeting, but I had said in a board meeting, I believe that Kyle said we have 58 buses. We have 48 on the road at any given time. That includes 8 for a football game for the band and the football team. So right now, at any given time, the max use is 48. We have 58. What's the quality of those buses? How long are they gonna last? What's a projected schedule? And so if we can get that, of course, it'll help us to plan.
Would you
plan
like
for
him here?
future
I was gonna
purpose.
have him speak at the May meeting. Would you like him here instead?
I think probably come here and give us an overview, and then he can speak at a general meeting too.
Okay.
The more information, the better. I mean, there's a lot going on, and so I think the more that we have, the better. And so
I will
that'll be
see if he can make it for these. I know the issue is sometimes he's driving in the morning, so June would be better than May for that. But I'll get with Kyle and get back with you.
And if he has a report and we have it, and he hasn't been able to come to talk about it, that's okay too. Because
Okay.
we would have it, look at it, and then he could come when he could come.
Okay.
And if it has to be, if he can come to a buildings and grounds, that would be great. And if he can only come to a general meeting, then okay. But if we could get the report, that would be helpful. There's a lot of moving parts right now, and we have to try and handle them all. All right.
One other quick
Yes.
item. The exhaust system in the wood shop, has there been any progress on looking at that?
That was actually looked at Friday with the engineers and TDA, and then again, it was looked at yesterday when we had the open house for the contractors to come through as an alternate.
Okay, are they gonna put the unit outside then, rather than in the corner of the room?
No, I'm not, well, I can't speak on that. I don't know what TDA is called out in the alternate. I don't
Okay.
know. I think it was just gonna be removed and stay in the classroom. And then the air extraction system, of course, we know is getting flipped over to the other side. But I do know that the dust collector is being put in as an alternate.
Okay, because whether it is placed inside or outside still is an unknown. But if it's placed outside, then we free up a little bit of floor space for, work. Okay,
Yeah, that would be more of an answer for, question for TDA.
all right, thanks. Okay.
All right, great. Thanks. Have a great day, everybody.
You too. Dennis,